In studio with Sally George, who's the market development manager for Singapore Airlines. And the reason I'm doing this is because Singapore has often been viewed as a kind of place that's a destination, one of the big cities, one of the big shopping stopovers, one of the places you've got to go and see if you're going to the Far East. But it's also more recently become an attractive stopover destination. If you're flying on Singapore Airlines to anywhere in the East, it's a place where they're encouraging you to stay, and they're doing it by offering some fairly attractive packages and attractions. So, Sally, welcome to studio.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good, fantastic. Okay, well, let's start right at the beginning. Where would you be flying on Singapore Airlines if Singapore is an attractive stopover?
Oh, there's many destinations we fly to. We fly to all the key destinations in Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, Bangkok, Phuket. And a popular destination for South Africans is Bali in Indonesia. Right. And we've also got new destinations like Kilabu in Philippines and Manado. So, yeah, there's a whole variety.
So
but
basically
mainly
anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah. Europe is a bit far out for the South Africans to go via Singapore, but Southeast Asia and Australia are our key points that we go to.
Okay. Well, I remember one of my very first trips overseas. In fact, it was my first trip overseas was to Japan, and we stopped over in Hong Kong, and I spent 7 hours staring at the Hong Kong horizon with absolutely nothing to do while I waited for my plane. So I know that a big deal, I mean, if I'd flown through Singapore, quite one of the big attractions at Singapore is that there is a lot to do actually at the airport.
Yes, at the airport, they offer a free city tour if you're in transit for more than 6 hours. There's two options. There's a city tour of Singapore itself during the daytime, which operates 4 times a day. And then if you're there a bit later, there's also the night city lights tour in the evening. And it takes you around in a bus. You don't actually get off. And you can get a sort of feel for Singapore. And hopefully, if you go again, you would stop over and spend some time there. The airport itself is being voted one of the best airports in the world. There's got plenty of entertainment. They've even got 3 movie theatres for the kids, a butterfly garden, a swimming pool as well, if you want to sort of relax and have a swim. There's 3 terminals, so if you're landing in Terminal 3 and need to transfer to Terminal 2, which is where the South African flights depart from, there's a SkyTrain that operates between the two, so it's very easy, user-friendly, great duty-free, which is actually quite more cheaper than what we get here for the duty-free, even with the exchange rate. So the shops also open up until about 1 o'clock in the morning because the Johannesburg flight departs quite late in the morning at 2 a.m. in the morning. So there's always plenty for you to do.
Yeah, one of the things I always notice about duty-free is it seems to be quite similar around the world, but I seem to remember that Singapore is not like it. It's a little bit more like a mall in a way.
Oh, yes. And besides the duty-free, you've got all your brand name shoppings, from the top range to the cheaper versions, like I think Cotton On is known here in South Africa. They've got a shop in Singapore at the Changi Airport. So there's a huge variety to choose from. So it keeps you busy and spending your last pennies before you get home or onto your final destination.
Yeah, they've built, I seem to remember, a bunch of rather large and pretty gardens that actually look like they're almost plastic. They look so beautifully manicured and put together.
Yes, they've got also the orchid garden in the transit area as well. Plus, as I mentioned, the butterfly and the sunflower garden as well.
Yeah, so it isn't quite sitting on a chair and staring at your feet.
Well, you can sit on a chair. They've got special chairs where you can relax, and it even has a timer on that so you don't miss your flight. So you can punch your a snooze for an hour. It's like a snooze chair.
Oh, brilliant!
And the area of that transit part of the airport is the lighting is dimmed low, so you can have a rest. And there's also for the children, there's the play area, and also the airport offers you free internet at various locations for up to 15 minutes, but that's not a problem because you can walk away and go back and do it for 15 minutes. So, yeah, there's plenty for you to do at the airport.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. And now let's say that's for anybody who's transiting for a couple hours to 6 or 7 hours, as you said, with the day trip. But there's actually a reason to sort of stay overnight. I know that a lot of if you do buy a Singapore Airlines plane ticket, there's attractive options for staying over.
Yes, if you travel on Singapore Airlines, you can make use of the Singapore stopover. There's 2 options: the basic Singapore stopover, if you're just going to Singapore, or onto a final destination, and that's just your room with accommodation and transfers, and that starts from about 350 rand per person in a 3-star hotel. It can go up obviously to a lot more than that. And then if you are traveling onto a second destination on Singapore Airlines, you can use the Singapore stopover, which also includes your room accommodation, gives you 50% off the hotel's a la carte menu, plus you get over 2,600 rands worth of attractions, because it allows you free entrance into most of the key attractions in Singapore, as well as discounts off various shopping activities.
Right. Well, I mean, you can't get a hotel in South Africa for 350 rand a
No,
night.
no, it's a bargain. I mean,
Yeah, so it really is. Okay, let's talk about some of these attractions. What are the places people should be seeing in
start?
Singapore? Yeah, okay. I know there's a list. It's some 15 or something. Attractions.
Yes. Basically, the Singapore skyline is quite famous for the Singapore Flyer, which opened in about 2005, and it's, I think, the second largest flyer in the world. I think it's over 165 meters.
It's a Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel,
Right, yeah.
And it takes half an hour to do a rotation. And you can even get on and have champagne sundowners if you require. And at the top, you can get a whole view of Singapore and Indonesia and Malaysia all in one go. So
Oh, wow.
a fantastic view. Then there's also the Marina Bay Sands Hotel, which is quite an iconic hotel. It's all been built on reclaimed land in Singapore. And it's got 3 hotel towers. And on the top, it looks like a big sausage. But it's actually got the infinity pool. So when people might have seen pictures where you look at the Singapore skyline and this infinity pool just flows over. It looks like you're going to fall off the edge. And that's only for the hotel guests. That hotel is a little bit pricey. But tourists can go up to the Sky Park on the 56th floor and get a whole view of the panoramic view of Singapore. So the Marina Bay Sands complex also has a casino as well. There's 2 casinos in Singapore at Marina Bay Sands, and also on the Resorts World Sentosa. Sentosa Island is very close to Singapore. You can get across either by the cable car or on the causeway on the road. And it's got many attractions there, one of them being the Resorts World Sentosa, a bit like your sort of Gold Reef City type theme park, but with a Universal Studio angle.
And probably a whole lot better, shall we say, classier than Gold Reef City.
Some fantastic rides. And so it's ideal for the kids. Also on the Sentosa Island, you've got the marine water world. You can go to the dolphins. And if you're more into the culture side, there's a museum on the history of Singapore. And what happened, because particularly during World War II. So there's endless activities to do. And besides, Sentosa, you probably could spend a whole day there, and you can get around the island on a monorail. So it's very easy to get off to the various attractions. And then you've got your more traditional sightseeing, like the Jurong Bird Park, which is a bit like your Monte Casino version of the bird park. And also your traditional city tour, which covers your Chinatown, Little India, and Arab Street, which is a great place to buy any silks or things like that. And a new attraction is the Gardens by the Bay, which is also on reclaimed land, and it's about 100 hectares of two big conservatories, and inside them they have various gardens from around the world, including South Africa. And I went to that a couple of years ago, and it's all your proteas, and then you've got your English garden and your Australia garden. So that's another place where you can spend the whole day. Right. So yeah, I mean, you can't. And I would say a few years ago, you probably spend 2 or 3 days in Singapore, but with all these new attractions, you need more to do it. So yeah, and then even if you want to do day trips to Malaysia, Indonesia, that's also available. Yeah, so
and one of the things that was kind of early known for is shopping, like most of the large cities there. There's a lot of shopping that can be done there.
Fantastic shopping.
Kind of a traditional.
The famous place for shopping in Singapore is Orchard Road. The shops are open from about 9 in the morning till 10 at night. But also besides Orchard Road, there's lots of other departments or shopping centres that you can go to. There's a famous one called Mustafa, which is open 24 hours, and you can buy literally anything and everything you can think of there, and also quite reasonable. So yeah, you've got all your brand names. For 2 months of the year, there's a Singapore sale, which is, I think it's just finished now. But even with this Singapore sale, every shop always has got some promotion on.
Right. Okay.
So,
well, when does Singapore Airlines fly out to Singapore? Is it every day?
We fly daily from Johannesburg, and then 4 times a week from Cape Town. The flight comes via Johannesburg.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so there you are. Is there any specials or anything people can look out for at the moment? Okay, well, let us know.
We've just launched a special. It's on sale for the month of August. It's called the Goodbye Winter Fair because we're now into spring. This is available for travel from the 21st of August until the 4th of December, so you can get in just before the peak season. Prices start to Singapore for about 9,300. This includes all your taxes, fuel surcharges, and airport taxes as well. And if you want to travel next year from the 4th of January to the 20th of March, there's an even cheaper fare called our Early Bird, which is about 300 Rand off the Singapore fare. And that's not just to Singapore. We've got fares to Australia, Southeast Asia. So all the details are available on our website, singaporeair.com/ZA, or you can book through your local travel agent.
Okay, and 300 Rand off is in fact the price of the stopover, so you might as well do it. That's basically, it's basically like offering you a free stopover for a night in Singapore. So there's the tip. Thank you very much, Sally. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much.
So there you go. That's Singapore Airlines and why you should stop over in Singapore. It really is a worthwhile destination. Hopefully you guys will give it a go.